Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spooky AF Pod. My name is Suz. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by my co-host, Rob. Rob, I'm going to ask how you're doing, even though I know you're basically dying.
I am. I'm speaking now from the Netherrealm. I, once again, have managed to get COVID. I managed to go from March 2020, so the start of COVID, or no, it's not the start of COVID, whenever COVID started, we'll say January 2020. Yeah. I went from there until November 2023 without getting it once. I make one joke on a podcast about witches, and then all of a sudden the week after I get COVID. And now 6 months later, I've just gotten it again for the second time.
I mean, it's because you specifically made fun of the pissing on like a lock of hair and putting it in a jar or something. Like that's 100% why you have COVID.
Yeah. To be fair, I did bring it upon myself. I thought my public apology to witches would have fixed it, but clearly I didn't go far enough. So now I'm just gonna have to I don't know. I'm a desperate man now. Suze.
I will say, before we launch into things, as we normally do, my update for the last couple of weeks is I have been, when not working or anything, I've fallen head first into the insane world of witch talk. So
go ahead.
As an adult in my now mid-30s, I do not have TikTok. Like I don't want it. I don't want to engage with it. It's not for me. Like I would be like somebody's weird aunt on there. So I don't have it. But I've been on YouTube, there have been a couple of YouTube commentators that I enjoy who have posted about witch talk, which are these self-proclaimed witches on TikTok that, among a wild amount of other things, are they do these really aggressive tarot readings where they're if there's one that they showed that was if you fucking scrolled onto this, it was fucking meant for you. So pay attention to the fucking cards. I was like, oh my god. There's a 21-year-old named Brixley who's yelling at me about how my man's gonna leave me.
Hey, well, I'm clearly not the target demographic either, because I thought you meant just witch talk, as in TALK. TikTok didn't even occur to me, so I'm even further removed from clearly that target demographic.
Yeah, but the thing that got me the most was the love spells that are going on witch talk, and so there are these people who are oh yeah, if you really want your dream partner to fall in love with you, they're take a Sharpie and write their name 5 times on a menstrual pad and then wear it for so many nights. And I'm just...
Do I even need... Actually, do you know what? I'm not going to comment on witches, actually, because clearly I have bad luck. So, no, do you know what? You do you. You do what you got to do.
I just think that I respect people who are part of pagan belief systems and all that. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. That's fine. It's great. And especially if it makes you a better person. But I'm just maybe don't put Sharpie near your genitals. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really, really conservative and I just never knew. I say with my purple buzz cut.
Yeah, true. You and your ivory tower of marriage as well. This is not a concern for you. So.
That's very true. Yeah. Oh god. Oh, also,
you're not manifesting a husband out of nowhere. So.
Also, this will probably go up far beyond it, but happy Pride Month, everybody. I hope your Pride was super, super gay and you had lots of fun and you learned things and you just had a good time. Oh, because didn't you tell us that you we have quite a few non-binary listeners, don't we?
We do actually. Something that we noticed recently in a trend was our stats. So you can, if you assign or identify with a specific gender on one of your profiles, say on Spotify or something like that, we can see it sometimes in analytics. And yeah, for some reason we have quite a few listeners who are non-binary in the, I think it's 28 to 36 year old category or something. So
fuck yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw it. I actually messaged Suze being so weirdly, all of a sudden we have quite a few listeners here. So yeah, you're obviously welcome. But yeah, it's great. It's been pleasantly surprising to see, as I said. So
absolutely, gender identities are super important, and gender roles are the worst. So do whatever the fuck you want, be who you are. We support you.
Indeed, absolutely.
Okay, so Rob, I'm gonna launch into this, and so all right, listeners, when I found out Rob was sick because he literally did the same thing he did last time he got COVID and sent me a photo of his positive COVID test with like with like what the fuck.
Look,
So
I have a touch for the dramatics, to be fair.
It's true.
I had to like drop it on someone like that.
Well, which is hilarious because I think one of the last messages I had sent you before that was the fact that I had found that that T-shirt that said "Y'alternative" that I really wanted. Anyway, but I found out Rob was sick, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to do something that I know will like warm the cockles of his heart. And so I am doing my first cryptid on this show, and
Oh my God.
It's kind of a bit of a tangential heavy hitter one. So I don't think you're ready, but I'm doing the Texas Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
Were you aware that there was one in Texas?
I had no idea.
And guess what?
I'm like,
It's not one, it's many different variants.
holy shit.
There's also an organization, and we're going to talk about it. Are you ready?
I am so ready to investigate these Texas Bigfoot.
The Texas
Big
Big
feet.
Feet. Yeah, the Texas Big Feet.
They're like the Proudfoots of the
Yes.
Texas world.
Yes. You fool of a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So, as our listeners probably know if they've been listening for a while, if you don't, like, I currently live in Ireland and have lived in Ireland and the UK for pretty much all my adult life, but I grew up in Texas. So,
Yeah, no one's uncertain of that after you just dropped the alternative.
the alternative.
just before.
I still really want that. Anyway. No, so I grew up in Texas, but I will tell you, as a child, I never heard of, like, a Bigfoot Texas. Like, I was obviously aware of, like, the myth, the whatever of Bigfoot, but it was very much a kind of, this is occurring up in, like, the rainy woods of kind of the serial killer minefield and barista, like, liberal awesomeness of the Pacific Northwest, like a land at which I was never going to be able to go because I was poor and in the borderline desert.
Of course, that all checks
Yeah,
out.
so the only, like, cryptid I was really aware of in Texas was, like, El Chupacabra.
Yeah, well, there was El Chupacabra, but also Texas is a significantly scary enough place as is.
Well,
You've got,
exactly.
got your own shit to deal
I'm
with.
like, not only do we have, like, brown recluse spiders and, like, rattlesnakes and stuff, we've also got, you know, like, rampant racists and like really loose gun control laws. Like, there's just a lot going on.
Yeah. Also, you have La Llorona to deal with, which is a little callback there.
Oh,
anyone that wants to go.
That is true.
Listen.
But, like, La Llorona, like, not a cryptid, though.
No, but you know, she adds to the whole spookiness of Texas that, you know, you just don't have time for Bigfoot.
We don't. Well, apparently, it was just like me who does not have time for Bigfoot, because Texas has a lot of time for Bigfoot. So,
Fair. That's surprising.
yeah, that's what I thought as well. But I'm going to get into it. I'm going to go quickly through my sources. So, I have a article from the Texas Public Radio, which seems like a really wholesome site. I don't know. I haven't really listened to much of it, but you can get recordings and
Yeah,
things.
public radio is good.
Exactly.
You should definitely support public radio.
The TexasMonthly.com, which is a very well-known kind of publication in Texas. The City of Jefferson website. I got a lot from the website for Hangar One Publishing, which seems to be which I'll get into it in a bit because it is important. It seems to be kind of a publication space for the kind of esoteric and, like, UFOs and ghosts and paranormal kind of stuff. So they kind of started me on my path to other places in terms of looking for different Texas Bigfoot legends. And let's see, where else do I have? Then I also have information from the Texas Bigfoot Research Conservancy, which, yeah, we're going to get into that.
That's a lot to unpack just there, even that one sentence.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, let's get into it, and then we'll get into some of the context around it. So, turns out that the Texas Bigfoot is a bit of a kind of like a pastiche of various more regional and extremely local cryptids. So, like I said, I grew up in Texas. I never heard of any of these, which is interesting, but they seem to be pretty, like, embedded. I will say that most of them happen in, like, they kind of happen all over Texas, but most of them happen in East Texas. And you can actually look for the numbers of like sightings of Bigfoot on the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization on the Texas page. You can look by county at the number of most recent reports and the last posted.
Damn. So that's like well documented.
Oh yeah, and you can do that for every state. I'm gonna send you the link so you can have a quick look. So
Amazing.
This is there you go. Okay, so that's the state listing for Texas, and you can literally go county by county alphabetically down. Like there's sadly there's none in the county that I'm from.
That was literally going to be my follow up question.
Yeah, no.
So clearly, you didn't have to be concerned about it because there's no sightings in your area.
Basically. And there's no sightings in, like, almost any of the surrounding counties either. So I think I'm in, like, a Bigfoot, I was gonna, like, the opposite. I'm in a Bigfoot cold spot.
That's fair. I am just loving some of the names of these counties. I'm not going to read them out because I'll inevitably just offend someone, but there are some great names of Texas counties.
And the best thing is that, like, however, it's a bit like Irish in that however you think it's pronounced, it's not.
Fair. More than fair. Yeah, there's some... okay, I'm sorry. There's literally a place called Jim Hog.
Yeah. There is.
Like, no.
In Texas, no, you're on notice.
I can't accept that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So just as our Texan, can you explain the difference between like north, east, south, and west Texas?
Yeah, like so I am kind of from the center of the state, like center west, but in Texas that means something very different in the sense that like the center of the state is a huge I'm considered to have grown up in the center of the state, and then I went to like my bachelor's degree was done at a university that was 4.5-hour drive away that is still considered the center of the state. So that kind of gives you an idea of the scale.
Kind of just breaks my mind.
Yeah. Like, so I was basically, yeah, that tells you anything. Generally speaking, what you need to know for this is that, so like the further east you get more and more trees, you get more and more of kind of a swampy, foresty kind of like what you would start to think of as, landscape in Louisiana and Arkansas. And I had a great history teacher once who said, there's no need to go to East Texas because there's too many trees and bad things happen where there's too many trees.
Well, clearly fucking Bigfoot is everywhere.
Yeah, now I know it's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So that's East Texas, and then like if you get like far South Texas, like the Valley, that's kind of a very agricultural center, and then as you get kind of, you'll obviously have like the Gulf of Mexico, and then moving down the curve of the valley to the border, the Mexican border.
Where the filter turns yellow.
Oh yeah, the filter on every camera turns yellow the minute you cross the border. It's so stupid. And then like the further west you get, you're obviously heading more like you're literally heading toward like New Mexico and Arizona. So like it's very, very desert, very flat, very very sandy and dusty. And then up in the Panhandle, it's so that's what we call that sticky uppy bit at the top of Texas. That's like leading up to Oklahoma and stuff. That's very flat and rolling plains and like a lot of tornadoes and dust storms and we'll get a bit more into it because there actually is a Panhandle Bigfoot, but he's a bit different. I don't know why I've gendered him. I don't want to assume the gender of Bigfoot, but like it is like they. I don't know.
That's fair.
If I use like random pronouns, it's because I just don't know how Bigfoot wants to identify here.
Maybe the Panhandle Bigfoot just gives off like mad masculine energy or something.
Yeah, like that. Oh, that Bigfoot is so toxic masculinity. You have no idea. All he does is like post on Reddit, just really questionable takes on things. No, okay, so anyway, so that's kind of like an outline of the state, and like in the middle of the state, you'll get kind of like rolling hills, and then basically it just kind of varies and is a bit in between all the other more extreme directional bits, if that makes sense.
Fair. So Texas basically has every possible sort of environment and climate effectively in the one state.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, someone living in far East Texas is having a wildly different experience than somebody living in, like, El Paso, which is on the far West Texas.
This is why people in the States just don't get passports as well. It still boggles my mind that it's like 90% of people in America doesn't have a passport or some mad number like that.
Well, I'm the first person in my family to get one.
Yeah, it's just mad because I suppose even within certain states, like you have basically every sort of climate. So if you want to go skiing, you just go to the other fucking side of the state.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of just breaks my mind a bit though, because like it's the opposite in Ireland. I would imagine, like I would assume over 90% of the Irish population has a passport because, you know, historically we can't wait to get out of the country.
Well, what I think is hilarious, like for work a few months ago, I had like a meeting in Galway, which is on like the opposite side of the country than Dublin is on. And I'm not saying that for your benefit, Rob. I'm saying that for the non-Ireland based listeners.
Yeah, my COVID brain for a second was like, Suz, I know where Galway
I know.
is.
I'm not trying to what would it be, like American splain Ireland to you?
We call them plastic patties. Thank you very much.
But oh God, I've never heard that.
Oh, really?
No. It's
you should go onto the Irish subreddit and just search the term plastic patty, and you'll be more than familiar than with the term after you read a few stories.
Oh God. Well, if anyone who knows me knows that I am like unnaturally hostile to American tourists, like because I always think of it like spiders in the sense that like if I'm out in like the outside world, I'm in their home and I have no right to kill them. If they are in my domicile, I have a right to kill them. They should not be here. I feel that way about American tourists. I'm like, I live here. You're making a bad name for me. Like, go home. I saw, again, I can't, what I'm about to say is so wild. And I read the sentence and they didn't have, like, all of this is very sketchily sourced, like, in terms of, like, actual evidence and all that, so like we're really taking this with like a mine of salt, but
it's never stopped us before.
It's never stopped us before, and it honestly makes the story better for me. But so someone said that they postulate that Bigfoot is the love child of mountain men and bears.
Sorry, when you say mountain men, we're just gonna ignore the bears for a second. When you say mountain men, you literally just mean like regular lads.
I was given no further detail. So, I mean, are we talking like a rugged lumberjack who is also like maybe low-key a like sovereign citizen right-wing nut job? Or are we like, I don't know. Or are we talking like really hippy-dippy, like live on the land? Like, I don't know. It could be so many things. However, it does really bring an interesting conversation to, like, have you heard that whole, like, would you rather be, like, asking women, would you rather be in the forest with a man or a bear?
It does. It really covers.
When we didn't know that there was a third option, both. Like, a thing that is both.
That's something else now. That's actually kind of shocked me a bit that.
Yeah, so now
they've moved away from the like ape theory.
Well, we're gonna get
it's literally like man bear pig.
It's a bit man bear pig, but we're actually gonna get into like the ape theory, and I've even taken a bit from the I wrote it down, but there's like an organization. It's like the Wood Ape organization. Anyway, we'll get there. We get there when we get there. Okay, so let's start. We're gonna start in East Texas, where we have most of the sightings, which makes sense because, like I said, East Texas is very like foresty and woody and a bit swampy, and so. Overall, it's described as like an imposing, usually 7 to 8 feet tall, which is like, that's really fucking huge. Because like you're a tall guy, Rob, and then like my husband is like a couple inches taller than you even, and like y'all are tall, so I can't imagine something being like 8 feet in front of me.
No, I'm just trying to picture that. Even for me, like, yeah, that's like that would be a good like intimidating sight. Now that I'm just thinking about it.
Exactly. And especially, like, built like you would imagine, like, Bigfoot is built. Which I will also get into, because there were some really, like, borderline homoerotic descriptions of what Bigfoot looks like.
Bigfoot's caked up, is he?
Bigfoot is jacked to the tits. Like,
yeah, fair.
Okay, so, naturally, allegedly, the history of Bigfoot in Texas has early rootings in what people are saying is Native American stories of the area, which include, like, the Caddo and then the Cherokee, who were forcibly relocated to Texas in the 19th century. Which spoke of hairy giants. I bring it up because it does come up a lot. However, there was no real citation to any kind of like reliable source on this. it was almost made like a passing, like, of course this is true comment. And it kind of drives me nuts when people do this because, like, it was not written by someone of, like, Caddo or Cherokee descent or an expert in their history and culture. And therefore, it just sounded a bit like somebody trying to, like, fit their narrative onto a culture that they view as, like, othered or foreign.
Texas, I believe, as well, I could be wrong here, doesn't exactly have the greatest of relationships with Native Americans either.
Oh, no. So. No. So, like, I always see this as, like, basically, I don't know, like, an attempt to gain legitimacy for the narrative. But it's always done with, like, cultures that have been, like, horribly minoritized and subject to violence and discrimination. And come on, paranormal pals, don't do that, is what I'm gonna say to the community.
Yeah, it was the same thing that we had with the Wendigo, like the Skinwalker and all that as well. I even felt uncomfortable at the time, kind of even talking about it, but it's that whole just kind of like as soon as you add Native American legend to it, it offers it an air of legitimacy. Like it's just not okay.
No, it's not okay, and we are coming out and saying it is not chill. Like,
no, we're better than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you are someone who is like part of that community or is like thoroughly researched that community and wants to make something like like an interesting statement about it, like do so in a way that is not appropriative and kind of colonizing. So now that we've gotten past that little sticky bit, let's go to some early sightings in Texas. So an early sighting goes back to 1837. Where settlers in the Navidad, I think is how you pronounce it, not sure, I should know, river region of South Texas, they reported seeing a wild woman covered in short brown hair. Now, to me, again, like, are we just shaming, like, a woman's winter body? Like, ladies, am I right?
That's exactly what you're doing. You're publicly shaming this woman right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it had been a long January, like, her partner thinks she's beautiful regardless. Like, why do I need to shave my legs? And at first I was like, oh yeah, me, same. You know, work, girl, do your short hair furry thing. And then they said like, oh, she was incredibly fast and agile and outran men on horses, the swiftest of horses. And then I was like, oh yeah, not me then. Like she's got other stuff going on. Like,
so basically, we've got like an Olympic sprinter out here just doing her thing.
Yeah, like a really furry Olympic sprinter. So
not a furry though.
No, thank God we don't get into that today. Like that is something we're just not going. Like I'm not saying we're never gonna go there because I know who we are, but like it's not today.
Yeah, no. Let's just move on.
Yeah, let's just keep going. So most of the stories emerge in the 20th century, so we'll get into those. Now, basically, as I mentioned before, the Texas Bigfoot legend is kind of a collage of kind of lesser-known, very regional cryptids. Now, first is one you're gonna know of, because I know this because we are both fans of somebody did an investigation on this. So the first is the Lake Worth monster, or the Goat Man of Fort Worth.
Oh, God, yes.
So I know, Rob, I know you watched that amazing BuzzFeed Unsolved they did, like it's like way back in the day when they were still at BuzzFeed.
Yep.
Like an amazing video exploration that like I highly recommend listeners go watch. It was great. It involves like a salt circle on a bridge, holy water and a water gun, an entreaty for like the goat devil to possess the heart of Shane. It was everything you wanted.
Isn't that also the origin of "Hey There, Demons"? It's me, you boy.
Yes, I'm almost certain it is. which is such a like an iconic statement.
Yeah.
So the early sightings of the Goat Man, but this is being associated with the Bigfoot legend, which I kind of like question a bit. But like, so early sightings were 1969, which is actually like fairly recent. I say as someone who can't fathom that the 90s were not, 10 years ago.
Yeah. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, I can't. So on the shores of Lake Worth, which is obviously near Fort Worth, where numerous witnesses reported seeing a creature over 7 feet tall with a goat-like head, cloven hooves, and smelled like holy hell. Which kind of is like... I don't know.
Sounds like me after a few pints of Guinness, to be fair. So
I mean, it's giving me Baphomet vibes, which is awesome, but also not really something I would traditionally associate with Bigfoot.
No, oh God, no. Like, I'd associate, like, smelliness with Bigfoot because that's one of the things that you keep hearing about is, like, the smell.
Yes.
But everything else, like, hooves, no. Like,
Goat head?
You're wandering into devil territory there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, we're conflating some things that maybe ought not to be conflated, but, you know, we'll roll with it. What do the youths say? Like, oh, fuck it, we ball. I don't know. Oh, God, I don't know. I got told, I was informed what, like, no cap meant by my...
I still don't know, and...
It's, like, not lying. Like, my Gen Z brother was like, oh, yeah, no cap, and I was like, what? I had to look at my husband, and he was like, oh, yeah, I think that means not lying. I was like, oh, right, okay.
I don't, like... Gen Z slang to me, I'm clearly just not meant to understand it, and that's fine. Like, it's
not
okay,
for me.
I don't need to.
Like,
but when I heard someone unironically say the other day, "skibbity,"
oh, I just found out. Like, I just found out that like the existence of Skibbity Toilet, and
that they literally said "skibbity," and I was like, "Are you the fucking scat man or something? Like, are you about to drop some bars here beside me?"
Yeah, I don't.
And no, I genuinely didn't realize that this was a word that was unironically used, and there we are. So that's my ignorance, and that was me put in my place as well, because, you know, they were using it in a conversation.
I mean, basically, we're getting to the point where I'm just gonna have to start watching birds.
No, we've just become that meme from The Simpsons of, like, old man shouts at sky.
Oh God, yes. Oh, we really have.
That's where we've gotten now.
Oh God. We really have.
Yep.
So anyway, so we're back to the Goat Man. So yeah, it's got some really like that particular myth has some other like elements to it that aren't really relevant to kind of like connecting it to Bigfoot. But anyway, it gets thrown in like this narrative of the Texas Bigfoot variants. So the next one is called The Wild Man of the Big Thicket, which is a great title. It's an Great name. Oh yeah, it's an East Texas cryptid story. The encounter was around the early 1960s, where some boys came face to face with a 7 or 8 foot hairy creature that had muscles for days. Seriously, there was a lot of time devoted to how jacked this creature was. Which was interesting.
Okay. Like a worrying amount of time, or?
Yeah, like going into like deltoids, like the size of traps and things, and like the curve of pecs, and I was like, is somebody real into Bigfoot? Like,
yeah, I feel like those boys maybe have some questions to ask themselves about their own.
I feel like you're objectifying Bigfoot, and I'm not sure if Bigfoot appreciates it.
Yeah, what were those boys actually doing out
Do not assume that Bigfoot is a himbo, like, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Well, I suppose we never covered what type of bear you were actually talking about when you said that he's mixed.
That's true. Oh God. So anyway, the boys said that this, incredibly muscled creature stared at them for like a beat and then bounded away at, quote, astonishing speed into the forest. So my question is, why? Like, this, mahoosive, steroided bodybuilder figure ape thing sees 2 small children, and he is ripped because they made sure we knew that, and then he just runs. Like, did he hear the siren call of Taylor Swift? Get it? It's a Travis Kelce joke.
Suz, that's gonna land real well with our fans, but you know me, I don't listen to Taylor Swift at all. Not because I don't like her, but it's just not for me.
It's not for you, it's not your vibe.
My wife will love that, so...
Okay, so back to Bigfoot in... Where are we? We're jacked Bigfoot. We're Rob Man in the Big Thicket. So, like I said, he runs away from these small kids despite being the most jacked man on the planet. So, Bigfoot or cryptid researchers, also known as cryptozoologists, claim that East Texas woodland swampy terrain provides the perfect cover for a Bigfoot and ample food supply, which makes me a little ill thinking of what kind of critters live in Texas and must serve as food for that poor cryptid. I just don't want to eat feral possum, but again, maybe that's just me. The now, so that's an East Texas one, and now we're also in a different East Texas one. This is the Dayton Bigfoot, and this encounter is actually from our lifetimes, Rob. This is 1993.
Oh, damn. Okay.
I actually had to pause there because I was like, shit, Rob's younger than me. Was he alive in 93?
Excuse you. Yes, I was. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I know. There was just a moment here because, like, I was just like, oh no. Like, be kind to me. I'm from the 1900s.
Oh, God.
I know. So Dayton, it's also in the eastern portion of Texas. So this is an excellent source, they said. So they said it was reported by a squirrel hunter, which is just...
Sorry.
Yep.
A squirrel hunter. What
Yep.
the fuck squirrels are in Texas that they require hunters?
I mean, there are lots and lots of squirrels. Like, I'm actually always
What, are
shocked.
the squirrels jacked as well?
I mean, I've not really spent a lot of time in East Texas, so like maybe, but yeah, I mean, people do eat them, and like you can do things with their pelts, from what I understand. But again, I'm really like putting the cunt in country here. But
Okay, Texas, I'm addressing you directly now. Texas, you need to calm the fuck down.
Are you telling Texas to get his shit together?
Yeah, Texas, you need to just fucking step back, take a deep breath, and look at yourself.
So the squirrel hunter says that he ran into a large, hairy creature that was about 7 feet tall. Now...
Sorry, I'm completely disregarding the story of any person that identifies as a squirrel hunter.
I mean, having grown up in Texas and knowing what some people identify with, I'm actually pretty pleased with squirrel hunter.
But, like, you're not hunting it. It's a squirrel. It's like... You feel like a real big man, do you? Walking up to a squirrel with a shotgun.
I'm sure it's not a shotgun.
What is it? Are they using, like, a compound bow?
I don't know. Katniss did in the Hunger Games. Okay, so wait, but you gotta hold on because this Bigfoot is legitimately considered like an official variant of the main Bigfoot, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because this creature is, quote, stealthier than the Bigfoot we all know and love. It's more difficult to detect somehow. I was given no further
variant of Bigfoot.
I was given no further information about what makes it stealthier, other than that it just was.
He's got that, what's it called? Is it Velour Black? Is that the color? The, like, blackest color that is possible?
Oh, isn't it like Vanta Black or something?
Vanta Black, that's what it is, yeah. He's just coated in that.
He's just covered in Vanta Black paint. Are you saying that, like, Bigfoot is part of, like, the avant-garde art scene? Like, he's making a statement about something?
Yes. He's hunting the squirrel hunters.
Damn, that seems like real overkill.
Yeah. Bigfoot, squirrel hunter.
So that kind of covers my, like, the swampy East Texas lands for the moment. So let's head to the Panhandle, which is the flat, desolate gateway to more flat desolation, in my opinion. But again, my opinion. Apologies to people we have who live in the Panhandle. I have been there several times. I was in my high school marching band because I was the coolest. And so we've been several times up to the Panhandle for a football game, and I hated it every time.
Yeah, you don't need to apologize.
Yeah, oh no, and I don't. Like, they know what they did. But let's just say that's part of the land where people are chasing tornadoes looking for a way out. Like...
okay.
So this is the Panhandle Bigfoot. Now, this actually confuses me, having been to the Panhandle. Because, like, in East Texas, and the swamps and the forests, all that, there's trees. Swamps are easy to, like, you know, submerge yourself in, like, hide in. It makes sense. The Panhandle, by and large, is, like, very open. Like, it's, like, sky for miles. And it's very flat. Like, people here have said, like, I just don't understand how this Bigfoot is, you know, like, concealing themselves. But don't worry, the cryptozoologist just answered me. So a distinct thing about this Bigfoot is that the creature is often said to have a bit of a pointy, like, conical head, like a cone head, rather than a typical kind of dome head, like you would imagine like a head to look like. So I would like you to imagine if a bear and someone from the Coneheads film had a baby.
That's exactly, literally, word for word, exactly what I was picturing in my head. Like...
And if
I'm
you don't
actually
know the
kind of
reference,
concerned that we both went there.
we both went straight there. And if you don't know the reference to the Coneheads film, you are so much younger than me.
Yeah, you're part of the demographic of our listeners that are in the lower percentile.
Yes, exactly. We're clearly not speaking to you in a way that's meaningful to you, Skibbity. But I'm just gonna throw things in and see if it helps. So he's got a bit of a cone head. So I think this is a bit stupid because I've been through the Panhandle. What did he do? Cosplay as a scarecrow in a cotton field? Does he use the dust storms as, a disguise or something? I just can't think of anything up there. But again, that is the Panhandle Bigfoot. Yeah, so that is a variant of the Texas Bigfoot. So our next cryptid legend is the Hockley County Howler. So this one is, again...
I'm sorry, what?
You heard me. The Hockley County Howler. Duh.
Okay.
So, this one is from 2010, so really recently. Of course, I thought 2010 really recently, and then I realized that was 14 years ago. So, again, I'm really having an existential crisis here.
Yeah.
Brief sidebar, I was looking up, I really like Chappell Rowan's new album, Bisexual Queen, and I was like, oh, I wonder how old Chappell Rowan is. So I looked up and she's 25, and I thought, oh, all right, my age bracket. And then I was like, no, it's not your age bracket, Suz. She's a decade younger than you. So, yeah, that was a real fun wake-up call.
Yeah.
So the Hockley County Howler is near Lubbock, which is kind of like the gateway to the Panhandle in some ways. The sightings occur in more populated areas, which is very different from the other variants, which tend to be quite rural or out of the way, where they can, take their jacked bodies and swiftly fly into the forest. Cryptozoologists say that this variant is more adaptable and resilient because of their, nearness to other humans. Meaning, made me think oh, this is the street smart one in the gang.
Yeah, this is the guy, he's got a leather jacket, he's got a carton of cigarettes tucked under his shirt sleeve.
Yes, 100%. He's got sunnies on. He goes to Texas Tech. He he's just known as the tall hairy guy in philosophy.
He's got a butterfly knife.
Oh yeah, and a butterfly tattoo, but it's very masculine.
Yeah, of course. I just have to I was laughing to myself when you called this the Howler, because I don't know if, well, I'm assuming you probably know this, but for anyone that isn't aware, the term howler has a very different meaning in Dublin.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So a howler in Dublin slang, in the most polite way I can put it, is a particularly ugly woman. Yeah, we'll put it that way. So yeah, to refer to this creature as a howler, I was just kind of giggling to myself for a few minutes.
We're not look shaming the Bigfoot.
No, God no. I just found it quite funny.
Again, I'm saying sentences that I just would never have comprehended saying. We're not look shaming the Bigfoot.
No, so we've basically got effectively someone who looks like Teen Wolf, but dressed up as one of the T-Birds from Greece.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, cool.
So now we've gotten through some variants, incidences, again, all very vague. Some have some kind of claims of oh, well, so-and-so's uncle's dad's best friend's smoking buddy or whatever has a picture kind of thing. And again, it was I could have really gotten into it, but I work a full-time job, and honestly, I wasn't that interested. So, so you're probably wondering who keeps track of these incidences, who keeps track of the research. Well, yeah. Wonder no more. It is the Texas Bigfoot Research Conservancy, otherwise known as the TBRC.
That actually sounds kind of cool.
I mean, I am all about, I'm a big proponent of people, being allowed to be into things. Because I myself am, irrationally into certain things.
Yeah. I feel like this is the sort of organization, though, where all the people who work there are all volunteers.
It is. It's a nonprofit. It was founded in 2001.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in this millennia. So now I've never heard of the organization before, so I Googled it. obviously. And the top link is a page to donate to them. It's like a GoFundMe kind of page.
Oh, God.
Or you can also organize a fundraiser for them. The next link is for their Facebook page, which I think they're active. I'm gonna, full disclosure here, I did not click on the Facebook link because I'm not 60 and I don't have a Facebook that isn't a dummy account. So yeah, I just didn't engage with that medium. I'm almost completely stripped from every social media, so,
Yeah, well, same as myself. I literally have no social media. The only social media that I have is our Spooky AF Instagram account, and I run that.
Yep, exactly. So the following link below that is to the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, the NAWAC, which is labeled as a scientific research organization dedicated to studying the North American wood ape, the animal many people call Bigfoot or Sasquatch. So again, there's some, there's organizations, communities of people who are looking into this cryptid, this phenomenon.
I'm a bit concerned that you've listed off the first 4 links on Google, and I could be wrong, but it sounds like their website is not in the first 4.
I couldn't find a proper, Texas Bigfoot Research Conservancy. I couldn't find a proper
off
website.
Facebook.
Again, didn't click on it, but, I kind of get the vibe.
Lads, come on. A website is not expensive.
But they are doing things. So the TBRC has they set up a very ambitious research project in 2006 called Operation Forest Vigil, which is a 5-year project to capture photographic proof of the Sasquatch in East Texas, as well as some areas of Arkansas and Oklahoma.
I'm just imagining them all out in the swamps, basically all looking like Arnie from Predator, where he covers himself in mud, just like...
There were no results as of the article in the Texas Parks and Wildlife magazine that was published in December 2011.
I'm shocked.
So maybe there's been some breakthroughs. They didn't immediately pop up in my search, which you would think they kind of would.
They could have been trying to look for the stealth variant, and they've already established that he is very stealthy, so you're not going to get a picture of that lad.
And maybe the cone-headed variant graduated from Texas Tech and then, used his education to, help maintain the secrecy of the other variants.
Yeah, he's literally, he's part of the Illuminati.
Oh, yeah.
He's the shadow government.
He's the shadow government. So I'm gonna start to wrap up. So that's kind of a good overview of Texas big feet. The Bigfoot capital of Texas is not Bigfoot, Texas. There is a Bigfoot, Texas.
Sorry, we have been recording for nearly an hour now, and you have withheld the fact that there's a place in Texas called Bigfoot from me.
Oh, you just wait, because I've held something else back that's gonna blow your mind.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, no, it's not Bigfoot, Texas. The Bigfoot capital of Texas is Jefferson, Texas. So, there is, if you go onto...
because that makes sense.
That makes sense. If you go onto the Jefferson, Texas website, there is a Bigfoot at the entrance to the trail across from the City of Jefferson Convention and Visitor Center, and the area, quote, between the entrance and the train bridge is known as Bigfoot Alley, and you will find, quote, 4 more Bigfoots hiding among the thickets.
I'm sure you will.
Jefferson is also the location that hosts an annual Texas Bigfoot Conference that draws hundreds of enthusiasts from all around the country and has been held annually since 2001 and is kind of run like a full-on academic-style conference, all to do with Bigfoot, in particular Bigfoot Texas variants.
Oh my god. If we ever get enough money and it coincides with a trip to Texas, can we please go to this conference?
Oh my god. What a dream. I mean, 100% our spouses will go nowhere near it. I mean, nowhere near it.
No, they won't, but that's fine. It's cheaper for 2 tickets, I'm sure.
Exactly. Oh, and apparently they've got a really nice food truck. Because there was a lot of talk about the food truck that showed up.
It's Texas, to be fair. If there was no barbecue there, I would be very disappointed.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I want to... So that's Bigfoot in Texas, a cursory overview. Again, you can do so much more research. I'm not going to invite you to, because, again, with stuff like this, it's easy to get into some, shady places that, are not really what you want to be getting into. Because that's the one thing, and we've kind of talked about this week in our messages, Rob, there's an element of like the paranormal like interest, kind of people who then like have really problematic views or takes on things.
Oh yeah.
And we're not going there. We're not.
You should see how severely I have to like monitor who follows us on Instagram.
I can only imagine. Like,
I genuinely think I've removed probably at least 40, 50 people from our followers that have some problematic views on their pages.
Like, guys, Paranormal Playground. We're just here, we're having fun, we're talking ghosts, we're trying to escape the late capitalist nightmare we're all trapped in for just a few hours. Calm down.
That's what we're all about.
We're all about. So
as we've just concluded an episode talking about Bigfoot.
Yes. So I remember how let's call back to the beginning of the episode. Remember how I said there was like that one of the sites that I used was like this, that like started my search was like Hanger One Publishing?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's, so what it says on their website is like, they're like, Hanger One Publishing covers interesting new science, genomic studies, odd wildlife research, strange disappearances, cryptids, mysteries, life after death, interesting celebrities, UFOs, and other unexplained events and occurrences.
Okay. So they cover everything.
They cover everything. I think it's kind of like you submit, your work to them and then they publish it or whatever. It just, like, I Googled it, like, further to make sure it wasn't, like, secretly some kind of, like, really problematic far-right, like, horrible thing. I didn't find any, okay, again, if there is something about that, like, I'm not promoting them in any way. I'm just saying that they talk about Texas Bigfoot. But I would say that I found, so the founder of it is named Doug Hajstek, apologies, I don't know how to pronounce that, but who is a film producer, who I Googled. He is among other things, so he kind of runs, apparently, or founded the publishing house, but he also is a producer on History Channel's Monster Quest.
No.
Yes. So.
Oh my god.
So we have a direct line to Monster Quest.
There you go. Well, that's all the legitimacy you need. That's it. Texas Bigfoot is real, folks.
Yeah, have a look. See what's going on in the Bigfoot realm. In Texas, it's got some interesting things. Again, I guess maybe we should wrap up with, like, I'm not a Bigfoot believer. I'm not a big, as you know, I'm kind of the skeptic on the show anyway. I just think that, like, if and particularly, like, if a cone-headed ape running around the plains of the Panhandle was actually running around the plains of the Panhandle, like, especially in the 90s, like pre-internet, like, somebody's watching that, somebody's shooting that for 100%,
sure. Yeah, someone's definitely shooting that.
Like, there would be a stuffed Bigfoot at the Lubbock Museum if that were the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to say, and you can already see probably where this is going, I don't necessarily not believe in Bigfoot. I can see how there's a chance that something does exist, not necessarily in Texas, but I'm thinking specifically Pacific Northwest or the Yeti in the Himalayas, that kind of region, because it's just so vast that I could conceivably see how such a large part of Earth that's mostly uninhabited, like, could be the source of something there. Also, with my archaeology background, aware of the kind of, like, the giant apes, the, like, Australopithecus and things like that, I could see how there's logic there. Like, it's not so far out of the realm of possibility that there could be that kind of, like, lost human link that's still existing somewhere. It's unlikely, but I like the idea of thinking that it is out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's fun to, it's a more interesting world to think that, like, it could be out there. I do think
we do live on a planet where we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about our own oceans. So I'm just spending so many time looking for those aliens. So I don't have time to be looking in the oceans.
While you were looking up, I was swimming down. No, so, like, yeah, that's, I guess, like, if there were a Bigfoot, like, Texas is as reasonable place as any, I guess, because of, like, the variety of terrain, I suppose, and it is, like, Texas, if you don't know anything about how the demographics, like, spread of Texas is, like, yes, there are a lot of people in Texas, but they are, like, mainly concentrated around a few, like, hubs of, like, cities and metropolises, not sure. But everything, like, for example, where, like, the place I grew up had, I don't know, like 100,000 people when I was growing up in it, probably more now. But then we were kind of the only thing for several hours in any direction that was kind of what could be called a city. So there's just like lots and lots of like, I mean, you can drive, like, especially if you're driving out west. Yeah, you just drive for hours and hours and you just don't come across anything for hours at a time.
That's fair. No, look, you know, who are we to say? Maybe there is one or two left out there that we just haven't come across yet.
And I think that the other thing is that, like, you're kind of right in that Texas doesn't really need a Bigfoot. We've got a lot of other shit going on. Like, yeah.
Texas already got its own problems. It doesn't need Bigfoot in the mix.
Like you said, Texas, like, take a hard look at yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, I do miss the food, though.
Yeah, the food is amazing. Thank you very much for this phenomenal story. I feel so educated now. My eyes have been opened. My third eye has been opened.
Oh, be careful, though, because you might start picking up frequencies from the Black Pyramid.
Well, yeah, true. Although we're quite far south with this story, so we're all good.
That's true, yeah. You're actually your astral frequency, since the story takes place in Texas, is actually vibrating at the same Texas frequency, not the Irish frequency.
It's true.
I am just saying things, but 100% you can find something like somebody like meaningfully trying to say the same thing.
Well, you see, that's what the Conehead Bigfoot is for. He like channels people's chakras and aligns frequencies inside, especially when Mercury is in retrograde.
Well, now I'm just picturing the cone on top of the head as being like a prism and like a rainbow shooting out the other side.
And like as you get closer, all you hear is just whoa,
whoa, whoa, like binaural beats. They're like, ooh, gamma beats. You know, they help heal like your blood problems. God. Yeah. So I guess to wrap up, that's the Texas Bigfoot. In as much depth as I wanted to go into it. I would just want to leave you guys with saying, I like, just remember when you're like interested in paranormal stuff or like you like stories like we do, like just don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with it and like find interesting stuff about it and don't be a dick.
That's absolutely the perfect way to end the episode. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. So I guess we will see you guys next time. It's been great. Have a great weekday or weekend whenever you happen to be listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Take it easy, guys. Bye.